The best Christmas present in the world. This story is about a beautiful incident that took place during the First World War. The author went to a junk shop in Bridport, UK and bought a roll-top desk. The desk was in bad condition, but the author thought he would be able to repair it. On Christmas Eve, he began working on it by removing the roll-top and pulling out the drawers. He found a secret drawer with a small black tin box hidden inside. The box had a note taped to it. The note instructed the finder to bury it with the owner of the desk when the time came. When the author opened the box, he found an envelope addressed to Mrs. Jim McPherson of 12 Copper Beeches, Bridport, Dorset. The enclosed letter was dated December 26, 1914. The author read the letter. It was written by Jim McPherson, a captain of the English Army, to his wife Connie. In the letter, Jim narrated a beautiful incident that took place on the battlefield on Christmas Day in 1914. The English and the German armies were in their respective trenches. Suddenly, Jim saw someone from the German side waving a white flag. He watched as a few German soldiers approached to wish the English soldiers a happy Christmas. The English soldiers replied in kind. Suddenly, several unarmed German soldiers began walking, crossing the no man's land or neutral territory, carrying the German alcohol, schnapps and sausages. Soldiers from both armies began shaking hands and wishing each other. A German officer named Hans Wolf shook hands with Jim McPherson. They introduced themselves, shared rum and cake, and talked about their families and books. Then the soldiers played football while their officers cheered and clapped. When the food and drink was over, the two sides wished each other well and hoped the war would end soon. Then they returned to their trenches. McPherson ended the letter confident that the war would end soon and he and Connie would be reunited. After reading the letter, the author decided to locate Mrs. McPherson and return the letter. So he drove to Bridport, Dorset the next morning. He found that the house had been burnt down and learned that Mrs. McPherson was living in a nursing home. When he reached the nursing home, the matron told him that Mrs. McPherson was in a confused state but would be happy to have a visitor on Christmas Day. When the author met Mrs. McPherson, he called her Connie and gave her the letter. Her eyes lit up when she saw the letter. In her confused state, she mistook the author for Jim and thought Jim had kept his promise and returned on Christmas Day. She said she had received the best Christmas present in the world.